Welcome back, everybody. It's always been so simple when you've been covering the game of professional football. If you're covering it and you had a question about a player, about a team, about a coach, about an era in football, you just picked up the telephone, you called down to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you said, I need to talk to Joe Horrigan. And he promptly picked up the phone and gave you the answer. That all changes now on June 1st when Joe retires. What are we going to do? Pro football is full of history. It lives on its history. All of that lives right here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. But what will the sport do when its human historian steps aside? Meet Joe Horrigan. Believe me, he knows it all. He's lived the game and loved it since he was a little boy growing up in Buffalo. But on June 1st, he retires. Sort of.
You don't retire from what you do for your living. This has been my hobby, this has been my job, this has been my love, this has been my life.
Joe's football fantasy was born not in the NFL, but instead the AFL. His dad worked in PR for the Buffalo Bills and then the fledgling league. And he took his son along for the ride. In 1977, after leaving the military, Joe showed up in Canton and delivered this line upon his arrival.
I told my predecessor when I visited here once, I said, you know, I would do your job for nothing. I didn't know they would hold me to that. So.
Now it's 42 years in. He really has seen it all. The greats of the game come to Canton every summer and become emotional little boys again as they speak about their path to enshrinement. Joe doesn't single out any one of them. That's what an even dealer he is. They're all great, all unique. The hall has grown in size and stature, but there have been uncomfortable times too. O.J. Simpson charged with double homicide in June of 1994. Of course, acquitted later, but a lot of people wanted O.J. kicked out of the hall. He was a stain on the sport.
For the Hall of Fame, it was one in which we had to rely on what we were smart enough to have, and that were bylaws. He was elected to the Hall of Fame for what he did on the playing field during his football career. There's no provision to remove anyone from the Hall of Fame.
So many memories. 1999. Ozzie Newsome is inducted into the Hall as a Cleveland Brown. And 2 days later, the Cleveland Browns re-enter the NFL in the Hall of Fame game and beat the Cowboys in overtime. 2007, after a seemingly endless wait, the great Gene Hickerson, who blocked for Jim Brown, Bobby Mitchell, and Leroy Kelly, finally goes into the Hall, with those three running backs leading the way for him this time.
Really didn't have any idea the kind of reaction we got, but Doug Deacon doesn't cry often.
No.
You've worked with Doug a long time, but I looked down and I saw Doug, just crying. So it was a great moment.
So never mind what we'll do without Joe always being there with the answer we need. What's Joe gonna do? Well, he'll continue with his weekly Sirius XM radio show. And then this summer, his much-anticipated book will be released, NFL Century, the 100-year rise of America's greatest sports league. And believe me, no one could ever write it better. And then what?
Well, retirement just means I'm not going to come to the office. I keep saying, I know what I'm going to do. June 1, I retire. June 2, I sleep in. June 3, I don't know. Who knows?